So just how bad would a rail strike be for the overall economy and, of course, getting those presents under the tree? Let's ask retail watcher Hitha Herzog, along with market watchers Gary Kaltbaum and Victoria Fernandez. Hitha, I want to start with you because you say a strike maybe could be averted. If it's not, how serious would it be?
It's incredibly serious. If there is a strike, I mean, we're talking about the rail strike, and then there's this other situation happening with truckers and workers that are delivering freight via trucks. They are getting furloughed. They are getting fired in the drove. So if you have a combination of those two, what ends up happening is there's a massive impact on the price of goods, especially food, and especially the products that need to get delivered. So you're going to see not only we're dealing with inflation, but we're going to see more of a price increase on the products out there because there is a shortage of supply because of these two, the strike and this, furloughing and firing of all the truck drivers. Right.
And Victoria, of course, a lot of folks have talked about how strong the consumer has been throughout all of this. Of course, runaway inflation. But we start to look at it, for instance, adjusted for inflation. And then you are starting to see some cracks in the retail consumer, aren't we?
Yeah, Charles, we are a little bit. We think consumer balance sheets are still pretty strong, but are we seeing credit card balances and revolving credit moving higher? We are. It's still less than where it was pre-pandemic as a percentage of debt limits, but it is moving higher. And obviously, if you have a rail strike, if we start to affect things where 40% of packaged goods are now going to be affected, right? 50% of commuter traffic on rails is going to be affected. Agriculture is going to be affected. Obviously, it is going to have an impact on the consumer at a time when we're starting to look at a recession coming in 2023. You and I talk about the yield curves and the inversions that we're seeing there quite often. It's just more pressure to do that in an environment that we haven't had in 30 years. There hasn't been a rail strike since 1992. There could be a lot of follow through that hits the consumer in a time when they're already beginning to be stretched.
Right. And of course, there's the diesel shortage as well, which invariably will add to cost coming up. Maybe not in time for the holidays. Good. Thank goodness for that, Gary. But there's a lot of dark clouds out there.
Well, I look at several things. Number one, savings rates have plunged. Credit card usage has skyrocketed. In the markets, we have the widest inverted yield curve in many, many years, which usually presages a recession. We're now getting, job cuts, especially in technology area. We got them in the crypto area, in the mortgage area for darn good reason. So this had better not happen. 40% of freight, and you don't have enough truckers to cover it. And we're talking food, chemicals, fertilizer, retail, you name it, and then there will be jobs. So hopefully we get something like 92, where Congress blinked after just 2 days of a strike and got a binding arbitration on this. And hopefully this gets done sooner rather than later, because I can promise you a fragile economy will not be able to take something like this.
And of course, Hitha, we haven't even talked about the Federal Reserve, which is deliberately trying to slow up the economy. And of course, they have the tools to make that happen, too.
You're absolutely right. And you mentioned, Victoria had mentioned, the way that the consumer is spending a lot on credit. And I do want to make this point. It is very easy for the consumer to spend not just on credit, but as well the way that these pay now or buy now, pay later mechanisms that consumers are using. So we are seeing about 70% of consumers using this, and 25% of those consumers just this is the first time using these types of ways to pay for things. Yeah. So it's according to an Oracle study. So we were looking into this, and I think it comes back down to the consumer psychology. That consumer feels that they need to go out and shop. They need to spend as some sort of salve of what they've seen in the last years. Federal Reserve, in impacting this, these prices continue to go up. But when it becomes very easy for the consumer to spend on credit and money that they don't have, they're going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the American mantra, right? Shop till you drop. I want to pick that up too, Victoria, because you know, buy now, pay later. The big company that does it is a company called Klarna. It was valued at like 80 billion coming into the year. The valuation is like 25 billion now. And it's so funny because when I told my wife about the concept, she's like, I'm from the Bronx. That ain't going to work. So it's like, and I mean, everyone's taking a lot of risk right now to try to keep this economy going. We are going to shop, but we do see credit card bills half rocketed at the fastest pace in 20 years. At some point, we hit a limit. Don't we hit a ceiling at some point?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, remember back in the day, Charles, it was layaway, right? You didn't even get your items until you paid it off. Now you get it, and there's probably some incentive for people to push some of those pay later bills further and further down the road. And that is going to cause a buildup and some issues. And when you look at a Federal Reserve that is trying to bring down inflation, they're trying to tighten up that labor market, I think this is going to be a component that's really going to fill into that. Yeah. We're looking for more people to come into the workforce. We're looking for that participation rate to go higher. I just don't see the mentality of the consumer right now fitting into that mold, which in my opinion means the Federal Reserve is going to have to continue to raise rates, which is going to continue to push these types of behaviors. Yeah,
there's certainly a tug of war there. Gary, I just got 20 seconds to give you the final word, my man.
Well, you said it. You know, I call it the Popeye credit. Wimpy once said, I'll pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. And the numbers on that are stunning and staggering. And I just wonder, a consumer that's spent up, and we're going to know in 2023. And you just have an economy that has worked off of 0% interest rates, $9 trillion of printed money, and that's all change. Yeah. Every data point, every economic statistic. So 23, for me, going to be quite the interesting. And right now, I'm not feeling too great, and I hope I'm wrong.
Well, you know, it feels like we're living on borrowed time, but I do think we'll be able to enjoy the holidays. And then we'll bring you back to talk about the rest. Hitha, Gary, Victoria, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.